Today, we're joined by singer and songwriter Alexis Lynn, who infuses vulnerability into her music to help us all feel heard. She's talking about confidence and insecurities, the need for more mainstream Indigenous artists, and how we as females can learn to heal and find happiness. And later, we're sitting down with Miss England finalist Melisa Raof. She made headlines and broke barriers by going au naturel by pageant standards, and we're loving every second of it. This is Advocate Now. Alexis, we're so thrilled to have you with us today.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
How would you say that your music, with all of your raw storylines, offers an introspective glimpse into your world as a bisexual woman?
Yeah, I honestly think a lot of my music gives an introspective glance on my life in general and the inside my head, because all of my music is very personal to me. But I recently released a song called Something to Prove, and I wrote it about being bisexual and kind of struggling with, accepting that with, you kind of internalize these societal norms. And I think also having, a male validation complex. And it was very personal, and I think it was very raw, and I didn't really plan on it being that way initially, but I think that's, my favorite part of music is how personable it gets when you get really open with it. So I think it's important to talk about, and I think, seeing so many people relate to it was really amazing and really shocking, honestly. But yeah, I think the more personal you get in music, it really opens it up to the more people that can relate to it.
Yeah, you mentioned, wanting male validation. How do you balance that need with your love for women?
I think it's something that, I think sexuality is a journey, and I think it's something that I'm still working through and trying to unlearn. I think there's a lot of internalized beliefs, that we all have that are just kind of placed upon us by society and by, the way we're raised and all of these kind of factors. And so I think it's something that I'm still, unlearning and trying to navigate and trying to figure out, what really is true to me, and more so what I want, and instead of, what may have previously been kind of instilled, so I think it's a journey, and I think it's something that I'm still working through and working on. But yeah.
You also released an album, it's called Real Talk, and you talk about your struggles with mental health and eating disorders, which unfortunately affect a lot of women out there. How did you overcome struggling with unhealthy coping mechanisms?
Yeah, I think for me, similar to sexuality, mental health is also a journey, and something that's a continuous effort. And I've been very blessed to have therapy available to me and support services available to me, because I know for a lot of people it's not accessible, and it's not as accessible as it should be. But for me, it's really been, I've done continuous therapy, and I have a lot of support systems in my life. And I think it's something that's a conscious effort, and I don't know if it really goes away necessarily. I think it's something that you have to put an effort towards and, advocate for your own mental health. And I think beyond the support systems is also being conscious of what kind of media I ingest and what kind of content I look at and, absorb, because I think something that other people may enjoy might not always be healthy for you, and that's okay. And I think it's important to notice that and what makes you feel good and what doesn't.
Aside from your tactics and what works for you, would you have any advice for other women who are looking to heal from unhealthy coping mechanisms and try to find happiness within themselves?
Yeah, I would say, honestly, if you're struggling, reach out to somebody. I know therapy isn't always accessible, and it's really unfortunate, but if it is, I would encourage you to do that. If it's not, I would encourage you to talk to somebody, to anyone, and just, try to get it out in the open, because I think one of the biggest things is having these secrets and having it be something that you don't talk about. It builds a lot of shame, and it builds a lot of silence. And I think bringing it to light is one of the biggest and first steps that you could do.
Well, I love that you're also an Indigenous artist, and we don't see a lot of Indigenous musicians in mainstream music. Why would you say there's a need for more artists like that, and why does representation matter?
Yeah, there are so many incredible Indigenous artists and writers and producers. And I think it's important to recognize that and to show them the same support that we show mainstream artists. And I think, it's important to celebrate Indigenous joy and Indigenous success, and to be able to shine a spotlight on Indigenous talent and allow Indigenous people and artists to take up space in the spotlight, because I think representation will always matter. I think it's important to see like faces being successful and being in the media and being celebrated.
As you move forward with your career, where do you see your music going? How do you see it transitioning?
I think it's always evolving. I think, I want to stay true to myself and authentic to the way I write, and to be able to talk about, open struggles and celebrate joys and also failures and misery. And I think it's important to me to keep being authentic in the way that I write. I think, I have a lot of music that's not out yet. So I'm really excited for that, and to just keep creating music and keep sharing it with everybody.
Have you gotten a response from other people, from fans, from listeners who have really said that your message has helped them in some way?
Yeah, it's one of those things. I think as a writer and an artist, it's like the biggest compliment is to hear someone, relate to your such a personal experience, and to, look at you and say, I've been exactly there and I've never had the words for it. And so to have people say things like that is, mind blowing as a songwriter. And it's truly, it's why I write music. That's the reason that I love music. And so to be able to do that for somebody else, and to, have them express that to you is incredible.
Alexis, thank you so much for joining us. And we want folks to check out Something to Prove, which is her new single, which gives hope of living in your own truth. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
I really love Alexis's vulnerability with her music and with us. Well, up next, we're joined by Melisa Raof, a beauty pageant finalist who's defying beauty standards and doing so on her own terms. It's so wonderful to have you with us, Melisa, and I love the positive message that you're sending to women. You recently became the first person to compete in the finals of the Miss England contest, and you did so without makeup. What inspired you to do this?
When I took part in Miss England, there were a variety of rounds that we had to participate in. And one of the rounds was actually the barefaced top model round. So this is a round where each and every girl posts a picture of themselves with no makeup or no filter on at all. And, I always used to post pictures with makeup, with filters on. So participating in this round, it made me realize that I don't need makeup or filters to feel or look beautiful. And, the things that I was so codependent on, I actually just threw away, and I wanted to take that whole bare-faced round to the next level and walk the whole thing makeup free, and hope to just inspire and empower as many women as I could.
And it is something that resonated with women all over the world. What type of reaction did you get, and what type of reaction did you expect to get?
Well, the reaction, first of all, I never really expected it to go so worldwide or so global, even though I'm actually glad that it did. So, we can just spread this positive message and show women all across the world that we don't need to conform to societal standards to feel and look beautiful. I've had women of all ages, just all across the globe, saying thank you for doing this for all of us, to show that we don't need to uphold society standards to feel beautiful. And beauty lies within being different. It's about diversity and being yourselves. And it was amazing.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier, makeup and filters, and we do live in a society that perpetuates an unrealistic standard of beauty, especially with social media, everyone trying to look as perfect as possible. So how did you break out of that mindset to feel good in your own skin?
Growing up, I've always been very insecure, very uncomfortable in my own skin. I felt like I had to look like everyone else. I was kind of scared of what others would think of me if I, went without any makeup on, or even just posting a picture without a filter on. So, but after going through the whole competition and going through that bare face round, I realized that, makeup and filters don't define me. And that ultimately it's down to my choice on how I feel comfortable to present myself. So I look beautiful with makeup on as I do without.
You look stunning right now, and I'm guessing you don't have a stitch of makeup on your face, right?
No, nothing on, no. As I said before, I have nothing against makeup. Makeup's a form of art. It's a form of creativity. But as I said before, you shouldn't let it define you. And I still may continue to wear makeup on, but then again, because I feel like women and men are actually so pressured to look and act a certain way. And I just want to show, everyone that no, it's ultimately down to how you feel. And if I want to not wear makeup, I won't.
Over the past decade, beauty pageants have really gotten a lot of backlash for objectifying women. Was the decision to not wear makeup almost a way to take your power back and to shift that?
Absolutely. I mean, when you think of beauty pageants, as everyone thinks it's just, pretty girls walking down, parading their looks and just looking pretty and stuff. But actually, you know, going through, this is the first beauty pageant I've ever competed in. And actually so much more than that. It's about celebrating femininity, your charitable skills, your talents, what you have to possess from the inside. It's all about inner beauty. And that's what I really wanted to show, that your confidence will radiate far, far much more than your outer beauty ever will. So many young girls are battling mental health issues such as body dysmorphia and self-identity issues due to the unrealistic beauty standards set out by social media. So it would be great to just see more and more girls of different races, different backgrounds, different ages to feel comfortable with who they are and just feel much confident. And I would love to be able to inspire that, you know, those young girls.
Now you also start #bareface trend movement. Tell me about that. And it's on because you've had hundreds of thousands of posts and shares.
It's basically a movement where essentially every woman posts a picture of themselves with no makeup and no filter on. It's just to promote that body confidence and that natural beauty which has been forgotten for so long. One thing I would say is that always be, you know, confident with yourself. You know, beauty lies within being yourself essentially, and that inner confidence will radiate far, far much more than your outer appearance will. Be yourself. Don't be afraid of what others may think about you, because their opinion doesn't matter. What matters more is what you think about yourself.
So well said. And hopefully this movement continues to grow so that women can, you know, build their self-confidence, love themselves for who they are. And hopefully I'll get there as I sit here in full glam makeup.
You look beautiful regardless.
Yeah. On behalf of women everywhere, though, thank you for having the courage, Melisa. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. It was lovely. Thank you for having me. It's been an honor.
I'm Sonia Baghdadi. Thanks so much for watching and advocating. For more stories and content like this, visit advocatechannel.com.